Okay, so hopefully you can hear me okay. Hopefully all systems are go. It's this microphone always makes me feel as though we are going to be uh, cut off or muted or something. So I'll do my best not to disturb things. I'm working with this light box. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. Give me 2 seconds. I just want to tweet out the link. We are on the alternative channel today. Up, the elephant in the room is in the room. Ironically, hello. Bop, 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 bop. Let me do this. I just want to tweet out the link. All I want to do is tweet out the link. Why won't you let me? So it's topical. So I'm workshopping the song. We'll see. We'll see if it actually happens. Share. Twitter. Do-si-do. Cut, copy, paste the hashtags, hit tweet. Boom. Okay. Well, theoretically, everything's going according to plan. Ariana Grande wore a bra top to her brother's wedding. So it says Teen Vogue. This is what happens when I tweet out the link. Then it brings me to Twitter, and I'm looking at the trending page. Great, wonderful. Here we go. And what is I've very now I got first of all now I have to dig into the story, or maybe we should ask the cards. We'll ask the cards. We'll have fun with it. Listen, I believe that context is important. I want to give you context. We say hello to everyone who's joining into the live chat. I see Jet Petty. I see Lisa Kane. I see Jilly Beans. I see Reemsey. Reemsey, how you doing? It's like the land of lost loves. I feel like we're at the coffee shop. This is great. We got all the old timers are, well, not all the old timers. We don't want anyone to feel left out, but we have many of the seasoned veterans. The elephant in the room says, I need a wrench, C-dubs. First of all, you don't want to say I need, because now I got something on you, right? Now I got something in the elephant in the room. But meanwhile, no, because now with this, we can't go down this road, because between me and the elephant in the room will be that friggin' one annoying scene in The Princess Bride all night. But that's, of course, what he would want me. The magic word is please, of course. But then he's like, now I do the magic word, please. You want a wrench? I'll give you a wrench. Listen, feels like old times. I never learned my lessons. On principle. Well, no, let's see. Hold on. I'm going to try and give you a wrench, but here's the thing. I know how to do this. Hold on. Bear with me. Just give me 2 seconds. I'll give me 2 seconds, and then you'll have to excuse me for coining and or pilfering a phrase. It will give us an opportunity to let the room breathe. I have to go over to because I'm on the I Am the One Who Works Here YouTube channel, so I need to be signed in there to add the wrench. I go over here, your channel. Here we go. Mute that. So as we're getting into it, I didn't use the word review. I titled this video Experiencing and Discussing the Oracle of the Shapeshifters deck. I purposely didn't use the word, hold on, hide user on this channel. No, that's not what we're trying to do. Oh, come on, Alfred Lamar Weber, get out of my way. Oh, all the notifications. Come on, please. Here we go. Should I put you in a timeout or add you as a moderator? Put you in a timeout or add you as a moderator? I'll add you as a moderator for now. Ay. There you go. Jesus wept. Old time's sakes. Hey, feels like old times. There you go. Terrible movie. Wonderful cast. Anywho, Lucy Cavendish is turning in her grave. Lucy Cavendish is still with us, as I understand. So I'm making jokes. I'm making light, which is okay. This is my first Oracle deck review. It was only after a couple of years of working with tarot cards that I really felt at all comfortable reviewing a tarot card deck to the degree that that word is appropriate. I don't know if that word is appropriate. I think when it comes to these sort of things, oracle decks, tarot decks, um, action figures, hard goods, like things, people kind of know if they want it, you know? You see a oracle card deck, you see a tarot deck, you see a book with a particular cover by a particular author. Someone trusted to you can look you dead in the eyes. How many times has this happened to you in a new age bookstore? You're looking at things and maybe you even ask someone's opinion and they give you the opinion, and the opinion is yada, yada, yada. That deck, not so great. If you want to be totally honest, I think it's just kind of commercial stuff. And you're thinking, oh, thank you. Thank you for telling me that. But you're also thinking, but I already know that I'm going to buy this deck. I already know that I'm going to buy this deck. It's a done deal, right? You kind of know when you're going to give something a shot. You flip it over, you take a look at the price tag, and you say, what the heck? At the time that I picked this deck up, I'm a father of 2 daughters. At the time that I picked this deck up, I initially looked at it. I was interested in expanding out. I had, acquired a whole bunch of tarot decks over time, and I was ready to. I was, bored enough to go and dip my toe into the world of oracle cards. And so, it was freeing because, tarot, there's so much history, there's so much backstory, there's so many, well thought out, well researched opinions and ingrained opinions, and people have very staunch points of view. Come on. Oh, I know. Oh, come on. Let me do this. Hold on. Okay. Sorry. I'll do this. I'll do this. No problem. Sorry, but I apologize for that. So, whatchamacallit? Uh, with Oracle cards, though, you can say, hey, a lot of these decks were published yesterday. Literally. They fell off the turnip truck. So you can go in there free and not overthink it. And that's certainly what I did. And when I looked at this deck in particular, the reason I had initially selected it was because I thought that this was going to be a deck that I could introduce my girls to, my kids to, and say, well, look, here are these things, oracle cards, take a look. What do you think? I knew enough about the author. I knew enough about the artist to know that, well, let's see. So I bought the product with thinking that. And of course, I talked to my kids about it. And of course, like anything that I would love them to be interested in, they're not interested. They're interested in the things that they're organically interested in. God bless them. God has blessed them. So I had this deck, and it was not last Thanksgiving. I think it was 2 Thanksgivings ago that I looked at it and said, I had been thinking about, I'd purchased a bunch of Oracle decks, but I hadn't really gotten into any of them. And I said, this is the time. I said, let's do this. And something about the green and some of the orange tones and just the kind of the mood, and even the notion of shape shifting. And, Thanksgiving happens around time of transition, of seasons. So it was the right place at the right time. I said, let me start getting into this. Let me start doing this. And what I do with tarot decks when I first acquire them is I shuffle them up and I go through them one at a time, one day at a time, making that basically my card of the day to start off the day. I pulled many cards through the day. Card of the day, I have like 15 cards by the end of the day that I've pulled, because why not, right? Got time on your hands. Masturbate or pull a tarot card. Well, I've already done 3 times and saddle sores are acting up, so I'll pull the tarot card. Yikes. Folks, I apologize. Let me try and come back to the reservation. The reservation's a funny farm, so I don't know if that's going to really help, but we'll see. I go through them one at a time because that'll give me time to look at the card, reflect on the card. You know, every Ace of Cups, every the standard tarot deck is going to have an Ace of Cups, a Five of Pentacles, a Seven of Swords, right? The titles may change slightly, but if it's a tarot deck playing generally by the rules of the road, it's going to have those things, but all of those things are going to be individual instances, right? It's like Paul might be a Chinese American, Dave might be a Chinese American. They have this thing in common. They're both of a type or have a characteristics. You can put them in categories together organically, but that doesn't tell you the whole story. They're individuals. One person's sense of identity is going to be distinct from a different person's sense of identity, though it might be grounded in the same history and the same community, whatever. Anyway, not to get lost in the analogies. But so I decided to do the same thing with the Shapeshifters deck, and my plans got interrupted. I didn't always pull an oracle card for the day. Depending on if my morning was a busy one or a light one, I might not have the time. I might just only pull the tarot card, or there might not be time to pull the card that morning, and I might have to rely upon a later moment in the day to see out that part of my daily spiritual practices. And for context, I'm an atheist. I don't believe in the existence of a supernatural because I believe anything that exists by definition would be natural. Therefore, if there's an astral plane, there's no reason for me to call it supernatural or metaphysical because it exists on some sort of level. I don't know. That's the way I understand it. Say hello to all the new people joining us, like Sammy from Shadow Zone Productions. I also see Reem C here. We said they're talking about sounds. Okay, no worries. So I finally got through going through the deck one card at a time. And I had, my impressions and said, well, I have initial impressions. Maybe it's time to, do the review, experience the analysis, the talking about video about the deck, like I've done with tarot decks in the past. But then I also felt kind of almost well, I don't know if I'm ready yet. I've gone through the cards one at a time. I've read all the things, but by the time I did my first review of a tarot deck, I had enough experience with tarot decks that when I was talking about the Seven of Cups and say a particular deck that I was discussing, I knew and understood and could talk about, the distinctions, the uniqueness between this interpretation and other interpretations I've seen, or I have some sort of other frame of reference to kind of buoy my analysis. But I was concerned that I would give the deck short shrift, that I wouldn't be exactly fair. So I said, well, let me spend more time with it. And what I, did on my videos, as you guys know, with the live streams, is I would always pull a card at the end of the stream, or would, if I remembered to do so. And then for the last couple of streams, maybe for maybe a week, 2 weeks now, I don't know. I've been pulling from this deck. And I've been looking at this deck while it's been in my office, contemplating whether or not it was time for the review. So I've been pulling a card in the office from this deck daily as well. So I feel at this point comfortable enough. I'm also currently going through another oracle deck involving, it's authored kind of, or it's credited to the woman who's Jasmine Beckett Griffith, who is the illustrator of this deck. And I actually kind of like it better. which kind of reinforced some of my initial impressions about this deck. You know, it'd be one thing if these a lot of these authors were coming out with one Oracle deck in their lifetime, right? Like, what does it mean to have created something that is like Tarot or going to function that way? There's part of me that almost, whether it's the romanticization of Tarot or the occult or the esoteric, to think that it would require, a lifetime of study. I think that's probably not the case, and I think that this deck really does work, and I've come to really love this deck. So everybody's got things you like about them, things you might not like about them. So I'll tell you about my impressions of the deck, and we'll just now go through and start experiencing the deck together. Lucy Cavendish herself, and produces, I would say, between 4 and 5 Oracle decks a year, it seems. That could be a misinterpretation born of the fact that I only became aware of her, say, maybe 2-3 years ago. So that, all of her work kind of hit me at once. But this is to say that, these Oracle deck, it's like a Dion Virtue, right? With the angel cards. That woman churned out Oracle decks like nobody's business, angelic deck of the Oracle wings, dragon fairies of the angelic realms, crystal edition. Do you know what I mean? Like all this stuff. And we're getting a lot of notions about talking about the gothic nature of the art or its anime style. Yeah, the what really also part of what attracted me to this deck was the artwork by Jasmine Beckett Griffith. Jasmine Beckett Griffith is definitely goth inspired. You can see pictures of her. She's definitely, you could tell. Like, I don't want to make any assumptions about her, but chances are she probably donned the black at her high school prom if she went. You know what I'm saying? Like, her and the aesthetics of Stevie Nicks, I think, are not, for too far apart. Her artwork can be defined or kind of known by it's this fantastic gothic style, but it's also these big eyes. She's very much inspired by, I dare say, or her artwork is very much akin to those 1960s big eye kind of look. Also, you'll see that look in what are those? The Blythe dolls. This kind of big eye 1960s kid. So her artwork is kind of a combination of that and this kind of darker fantasy gothic aesthetic. Now, what's also interesting about Jasmine Beckett Griffith is that in addition to being totally goth as Obvi, in a lot of different ways, she's closely associated with Disney. She actually lives in Celebration, Florida with her husband, Andrew, who I am low-key, big O, obsessed with. No joke. I have no idea what's going on with me and Andrew, but I am obsessed with Andrew. I'm straight, but I'm gonna figure out what the deal is. I'm like convinced it's some sort of national treasure. He's got this like penny in his pocket. He doesn't know why he's held on to it. It's the one that I lost when I was in third grade. I don't know what the heck it is, but we'll figure it out when he calls the cops. Anyway, Oracle of the Shapeshifters. I put the deck back together. You get it in this very nice, box. And I'll open it up for you. I put it all back together just to kind of give you a feel for what it is. It's a good product. And here we have, it starts off, we got the book. We remove the book. It's a nice book, and they take their time with Lucy Cavendish, who did the authorship, obviously took her time with the writing of it. The deck is a little bit inconsistent as far as its theming is concerned and as far as the artwork is concerned. And I am believing when you pull out the cards, they come in this kind of regular kind of, wrapper, but the cards are beautiful. and I'll just, hold them up as we kind of go through. Here's Mermaid in a Koi Pond. We have the title of the card. Then you'll have a short little saying, and there's a numerical value. Guess what? There's 44 cards. I'm trying to figure it out if that's something to do with cycles of the moon or something, because it seems like every Oracle deck is either 44 or 45. It is published, Reemsy, I see you, darling. It's published by... I had it right here. Oh, here we go. Beyond Words in Hillsboro, Oregon, but this edition is published by Simon Pulse. We have a copyright, first Simon Pulse Beyond Words paperback edition, April 2013. Copyright 2011-2013 by Lucy Cavendish and Jasmine Beckett Griffith. Originally published in Australia by Blue Angel Publishing. I think that is Lucy Cavendish's publisher of choice, if not her own imprint. Okay, so I'll put this back here. Bear with me. Can you stay there? Okay. Some of this artwork may have pre-existed, and it may have been that Lucy Cavendish saw something in some themes, or maybe like on assignment, Jasmine Beckett Griffith was sent back to say, look at your archives, look at your portfolio. I'm thinking about Shapeshifters, because there's wide difference in stylings between some of the cards. Some of the cards obviously seem like they have a very different amount of time that was spent with them. Some seem fully realized, and some seem kind of pushed together. If you want a great example of the difference between something that looks like someone had a lot of time to spend with as an artist, look at this Mermaid in a Koi Pond. Okay, now look at the card that they actually picked for the to be the cover art, which I don't really understand, because this is not the greatest card in the deck aesthetic wise, but it might have been one of the few that was absolutely 100% original, because you see the difference in the shading is remarkable. This was probably spent what, a third of the time that this other work was spent on. Here's another example of something that seems more fully realized, like it was probably there for a while. Let me see if I can find any that here's another beautiful one. But here's another one that kind of shows you the kind of like the newer, like this was probably done on spec. This was probably done on demand, like the Two Kittens one. And you'll see that's part of what I mean about there's some decks that you can tell from one card to the next. It's a crystal, it's a saying, it's a phrase, and it's a this. It's like everything is the same kind of thing. These sometimes the aesthetics are way off, and sometimes like the card's energy and the book is talking about like what we're concentrating on is the familiar, the shapeshifter, the animal spirit that's helping the stand-in for the querent or the observer, which would be the kind of the protagonist or the young girl in this picture. But then some of them are basically make it sound like the person that you're looking at is the human kind of anthropomorphic human figure. So it's kind of a little bit, like I said, kind of uneven in that sense, is that it doesn't seem totally like, it doesn't seem like it was the result of years and years and years of study, and it's really important that I birthed the Shapeshifters deck. I don't have any visions of these guys burning the third draft at the fourth full moon, going, we have to go back to square one, we have to begin all the way at the beginning. No, I think these these ladies had an assignment, and they wanted to do it, and I think that they took out pieces that worked. Let me do this. Here's some, here's one. So now here's the other thing. So here's one. It's like the Butterfly Ferrets, I Am Reborn, number 5. Now, I'm not saying that you can't do butterfly ferrets, but I love Jasmine Beckett Griffith. But honey, she was like, butterfly ferrets, found a painting that she had done, right, with ferrets, and then was like, Andrew, um, what color wings on these ferrets? The butterfly ferrets. Okay. You know what I mean? Like it, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, but but it's like that. It's like and you could totally tell. It's like they're like, um, what about these ferrets? They could be, how about butterfly ferrets? And you could see someone at the end of the line, probably the person that did not come with that idea, being like, yeah, that's great. Butterfly ferrets. Sacred beetle armor with infant mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy. I apologize. My light box is doing this thing of, oh, wait, maybe if I do this. Hold on. Ah! Thank God I didn't expose anything terrible. My dildo collection. My dildo collection. They'll know where my dildo collection is. They'll all come for my dildos. David? Sorry. Reemsy, oh, these are adorable. Oh, fuck. I guess you did see the dildo collection. They're very cute. The illustrator is Wonderbar. Here's a nice one. But again, this is like what I'd say. Like you could go through it. You'd say no. Say like this was done for the deck. Maybe older painting. I don't know, but I don't know. Like I don't know what I don't know. But so it's a wild ride working with him. Like I said, I'm not like a metaphysician. I think that the point of oracle cards is artwork saying symbolic number value. These things can prompt you to respond. What do you see in this card? Here's the definition. Here's what the cards says the divination meaning is. How does that strike you this morning? How do you read it? What does it automatically apply to in your head? Right? Sometimes when you're working with tarot cards and you're fighting with your mom or something or whatever, every queen that shows up, you read every description. Oh, it's mom. Oh, it's because of the thing. That must be the thing that's going on with mom. You're holding on to a reservation. Oh, that's about the taxes, right? So, Brother Raccoon, a safe place for you to go. Beauty and the Beast, number 8. You need some space in a relationship. Things that I like about this deck, with a lot of oracle decks, because if you're reading tarot, you know a lot about tarot, so you can kind of wing it. You don't really need the card, the book in front of you all the time, after a while. But with oracle cards, forget about it. If it's got not a lot of information on it, you basically, if you haven't really taken your time with the guidebook, what do? Well, these sort of decks that have the phraseology and all the words on the card, or a lot of words on the card, work for me. Here's number 15. Your imaginary friend, childhood treasures resurface. So what does an oracle deck have to do to work? It's got to have enough prompts that are enough universally applicable. Hedgehog love. Positive, uplifting new friends. This sort of thing also, there's a lot of repetition. There's a lot of, it's a very specific thing, shapeshifters and animal spirits and familiars, not necessarily animal spirit familiars coming to help and protect you, right? That's big energy. But there's a lot of, stuff that's fairly repetitive. Orca magic. I like this one. The Akashic Library's open. Now, what I'd like to do, let me see if I want to just put one up that I think is like a great. Oh, here's one. Here's a nice one. Here's 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 35. 5 plus 3, 8. You are unlike anyone else. Your contradictions and complexities are interesting. The other thing I like about this, the thing that works about this deck, and the deck works. You can read with it. You get out of things what you put into them. Lucy Cavendish is obviously a true believer. I'm obviously more of the spiritual stuff is there, and we make it work in the world that we work with, whatever. But I can dig it. It works, but it's ramshackle, right? It's uneven. So the steering wheel sticks, and when you make the right turn, you got to make sure to turn the blinker off because it won't do so automatically. You know what I mean? It's rough around the edges, but that doesn't necessarily make it bad. It's guidebook, the space where it has, so basically for every entry, for every card, you're going to have an about section. So if we look at number 35, if we look at this one we're looking at now, here we go. We'll go to 35. So you have about 3 pages of text for every card, and that's saying, that's, I think that's worth pointing out. So to the degree that I could show you. So here's the entry for you are like anyone else. You have the about, you are like anyone else about the card. And then it's you are unlike anyone else speaks. That's the card from its point of view. And then it's divination meanings. Your directions are being challenged. There's confusion concerning who you are. People who you have been close to, you may draw away or feel betrayed and confused at this time because they no longer know. So times of change and transition, animals that change and transition. These are the kind of the reference points, but the reference points aren't held to in the same way. What would say is kind of makes it a little bit feeling like ramshackle, or rough around the edges. But that also just makes it freeing also, because when I approach this deck, I don't have to overthink it. I know it's the Oracle of the Shapeshifters deck, and it's ramshackle around the edges, and they spend time on it, but it's not like they spent all the time in the world. You know what I mean? So it frees you up to kind of play with them. And we've played with them before, and they played back. One of the things that I like about them is that if you do a reading with them, because it has a name of the card, and then it has this little saying underneath, if you do like a 3-card spread, oftentimes you'll see that the words kind of run together almost a little bit like a cut up little story or poem kind of. So even if you're a beginner, it kind of holds your hand a little, in the sense that it kind of, if you can read the story, you can see what's going on. So let me just I'm closing my eyes here, so I'll just pick 3 cards. Boom. Go this one. Boom. Last but not least, we'll go with that. Okay. I didn't look. I swear to God. So if we just take these now, and I'll just fan them out. Sorry. Light boxes. Light boxes. The fairy bee. My life is sweet. The black cat. Lost magic. Atonement. Rebalance. Once upon a midnight dreary, like goth as F and F. Love her. Love Jasmine Becky Griffith. Love her. Great. Once upon a midnight dreary. Creativity, genius, writing, expression, artistic flow. So if we read these words to get, I could have sworn to God I did one way, but then I think they spontaneously rearranged in my hands. I didn't do it consciously, so we'll just say it like that. Let's read the words. Lost magic, atonement, rebalance. My life is sweet. Creativity, genius, writing, expression, artistic flow. You get the feel for it. The black cat, lost magic, atonement, rebalance. We start off there. But after the atonement, the realization, a rebirth of the land. My life is sweet. And as a result, even at night, once upon a midnight dreary, reflecting creativity, genius, writing, expression, artistic flow. From that, then comes the springboard towards the action. We're going to write about it. We're going to tell our story. And it's that sort of positive experience like I just had with the deck that makes it a good deck. And one that I don't feel, I've had tarot decks where I've been like, this was a novelty, right? This was a cute little novelty, and we're going to put it to the side. when I first contemplated, when I first had gone through the cards one at a time, I was like this. Lucy Cavendish is a new age wonder frou-frou, and she hooked up with this wonderful, amazing artist, Jasmine Beckett Griffith. And what we have is a beautiful deck that, hey, any deck can work if you work it. And if you love it, you love it. But I think it's a little ramshackle. I don't think it's that well thought out. The cards are presented inconsistently as far as, what the kind of energies that are being presented, or the importance, or kind of the feel of things are generating. um but I didn't do the review right away, and I had to say to myself, I said, I looked back in my journal, and I said, for this deck that I'm saying was kind of like frou-frou or ramshackle or whatever, there were certainly a lot of prompts that I got from it. There were certainly a lot of inner conversations that were generated. And then, having spent time with it, doing, little one card pulls for the stream, again, dancing, the butterfly ferrets is always the one I'll come back to. But it's like, it's it's the fact that, um, little Lucy May, back in the room of 38A. Why are you walking so funny? I put together my shoes. How did you put them together? With gum. Do you know what I mean? That's not the way you put together shoes. That's a recipe for disaster, what you did right there. Only a kid would come up with that idea. But you came up with that idea, kid. You know what I mean? Good for you. The butterfly ferrets. Even this ferret's like, come on, what do you want from me? I was just a ferret, and then Lucy Cavendish was like, butterfly ferrets. We were just going to be ferrets in the dark originally, right? Tony, tell them. Ferrets in the dark. That's what they told us. Ferrets in the dark. Oh, it's going to be ferrets in the dark. And I'm thinking, look at the model. We're going to be good here. Ferrets in the dark. Ooh, don't, hey, I mean, I'm not a bat. I'm not a wolf or anything. I'm a ferret. But, hey, look at me. I got a mask on. And then it was like, then one day they came in. I saw Jasmine come in. I was like, oh, what's going on, girl? And I saw her reach for that red. I'm like, I gotta start working on another painting. You must be going to start working on another. Oh, okay, no, what? Oh. And the wings went on, and they were never this. Look at these guys are not stoked about these wings. The butterfly ferrets, I am reborn. Look at that butterfly ferret. It's like, I am reborn, but at what cost? I love it. Oh, God, let's look him up. Let's look up this card. This is too good. The butterfly ferrets. It's all about the butterfly ferrets. But that's what I mean. But even that, can you believe it? Is like generates this level of conversation about it. The butterfly ferrets. This is going to be a winner. And you're going to see, like, when like the tarot card reader at the festival is obviously run out of her, fuel, and she's running on fumes. She's running on fumes, and you just know it. They know it too, and they know you know it. It's just like, see me through to the end. The death card is a card that can be intimidating when people see it. You've been, okay, so you understand the death. Okay, good. Okay, so yeah, change. About the butterfly ferrets. I'm not going to read the whole thing. The butterfly is the ultimate symbol of transformation. Okay. The ferret is mistrusting and alert and repels those who would do her harm. This strange combination will see you safe at this time of vulnerability and new powers. For while you are reborn, you must have protection, and will ensure you are safe in this moment of highest danger. The fucking butterfly ferret? That's what I mean. It's like the butterfly ferret. So when I read that, I'm like, well, you know what? God bless them. They're stepping up. But I don't know if there's an elephant in this deck. Do you know what I mean? The butterfly ferrets speak. You have been, let's see, what do we do with these wings? You have been through a time of great challenge and difficulty. You feel new, vulnerable, and inexperienced. You thought you might not survive to see this day, but now it is here, and you are drying your newfound wings in the gentle sunlight. So it feels like the butterfly ferret should have been butterflies with like ferret heads, not like ferrets that got butterfly wings stuck on them. That's what I'm saying. It's probably a miscommunication at Bronx Zoo. Divination. You have changed and are at a very new stage with very little experience. While the butterfly ferrets celebrate you and your transformation, they are watchful. So they send you these alert, aware young ones to keep safe your borders while you find your feet, shake off the shock of birth, and set your new direction. How is that a divination? I mean, it's a divination if I'm trying to figure out what spirit animal familiar is going to join me, but you cannot go back to the womb. You cannot go back to sleep. You cannot be as you were because you withstood the tomb of the cocoon and have resurrected in this lifetime. You are beloved, and the butterfly ferrets celebrate who you have become. So you can work with it, but it's like I am reborn, and that is not necessarily the same thing. So I would just let the butterfly ferrets be the butterfly ferrets and say that they're reborn, but be aware if you're going to work with this deck, every once in a while, this bad boy is going to show up, and people are going to look at you like, yeah. You know what I mean? Did Maynard from Tool sell you this deck? And did you not know that he was being ironic? I won't go through it. Let me do this. So the butterfly ferrets, let's just leave them up. I'm gonna throw up ones that are, and there's ones that are inconsistent with Jasmine Beckett Griffith's general style that I thought were interesting. We looked at this one before, but I'll put it up again. Mermaid in a koi pond. Rediscover your individuality. Become the dragon. A lot of dragons. Little brother, little sister is a beautiful card. Little Red Riding Hood. I am not a victim. That's a great one. Dragonfly Mermaid. Dragonling Mermaid. Dragonling Garden. A New World is Reborn. 45. That's the last card. Here's this. Okay, that's one. So it's like there's a lot of like inconsistency in like what things are, like what things are supposed to be. Like sometimes the animals are helping you, sometimes you're the animal. Pose brave flight. You will not let fear stop you this time. Okay, kind of a steampunky aesthetic. Very Halloweeny theme in the sense that there's a lot of these orange and black striped. Let's see if that's the one. No, that's not the one. Oh yeah, but that'll be a good juxtaposition. Let's see this. Here, look at this. Here's more of the Disney aesthetic, and so I know that this was from a previous collection. Snow White and her animal friends. You inspire trust and confidence. I can't believe they didn't get sued, but I think Jasmine Becker must have an inside on the. Here's the Joker card for this deck in the sense that this huge white blast is unique. No other card really even has it. The closest you come is the two kittens, but nothing blasts like that card, especially when all the other cards are so dark. Here's this. Here's more Disney. Strange Companions in Strange Places. I don't know if they got her to do the Disney deck, but if they didn't, they're fools because that could have turned that deck around probably. I haven't looked at it. Little wolf girl here we have. Beautiful little worm. Number 17. Take care of yourself. Here's one. More of a Japanese influence Kitsune. I will show you who to trust. Number 24. The delicate fairy and her ferrets. Change is natural, good, and yes, it can hurt. It's different. Alice in a Sea of Tears, more kind of Disney alliterations. I don't know if I'm using the right word. Probably not. I know I'm not. Let's see. There were ones that particularly were divergent from her regular style. Let's see if I got them all. What I'm calling her style. That's so interesting because I remember there being more of them. I only found 2 this time. What if I had them out there? So interesting. Bizarro day. Stuff's disappearing on me. We're just what did I pull that one? Maybe that one was one of them. I don't even know. Yikes! Who knows? I know there was like a third one, but here you go. Now this is interesting. So you have very similar scenes, but here's a traditional kind of here's a regular kind of Jasmine Beckett Griffith usual big eye style, and then you have this card, Quetzalcoatl and the Prince and the Priestess of Time. So similar, but you see, it's like this is the same illustrator, and these cards appear in the same deck. But I feel like if you're gonna have this, then I feel like if it's a 44 card deck, we need 22 of these guys, with 22 of these. You know what I mean? Like maybe the light than the serious. But it's a weird juxtaposition. But hey, here's Elizabeth and the Lion, which seems so much like the traditional image of the Strength card in Tarot. Interesting stuff. So yeah, I like it. You can read with it. The guidebook is good in the sense that the contents are the contents, the definition of the cards and what they are or mean. I mean, that's what the guidebook is for. Then of course they have their readings that like spreads that you can try, which always seems to be we're going to come up with our own unique, idiosyncratic, deck themed way of understanding a one card pull. And guess what? Is it going to be a 3-card pull? Yes, the next one is going to be their version of a 3-card pull. But instead of being past, present, and future, if it's an ocean themed deck, it's going to be like the rising of the wave, the cresting of the wave, the crashing of the wave. And instead of being like, this is what happened in your recent past, it'll be like the beginning of the wave. The energy of the wave begins from the moment the last wave. You know what I mean? It's like, I get it. You're going to tell it to me, but it's like Star Wars Monopoly. I landed on Park Place. Oh, I'm sorry. Tatooine. I'm sorry. I landed on Tatooine. Not Boardwalk Blowjob Avenue, wherever the heck it's called. I definitely know it's not called that. Certainly not in the standard edition of Monopoly. It should be, though, when they sell more copies, I think. Try it, Parker Brothers. Why not mess with something that's worked? Monopoly everything. It's the Simpsons Monopoly. Simpsonopoly. What makes it Simpsonopoly? Guess what? You change the name of the places. It's Halo themed. Oh shit. It's like I'm Uncle Pennybags in space. Ace, and I'm shooting at you. How'd we get here? Anyway. Does anyone want me to pull a card for them? Would anyone like to take a spin around the block with the old Oracle of the Shapeshifters? Take care, Sam. Take care. Okay. Then I will just pull a card for the Streamola. Oh, Jonaside says me. Okay. Is there anything in particular you're interested in, Jonaside? Or just a general? Reemsey, I would like a shapeshifter card, please. Reemsey would like a card too. So what I'll do is when we get to this point, we don't worry about the guidebook. Phil Blair says, me too. All right. Okay, there we go. So we'll do Jonaside, Reemsey, and Philip. And I'll give time for other people to get on. So we're going to do general. We'll just do one card pull as the first Jonaside. I realized then all of a sudden I realized we're going to be other people there. So it'll be good. So you don't worry about the guidebook when it comes time to read. The time for the guidebook is the time in preparation with the deck, learning it, spending time with it. It was time to do the experience and the review and to talk about it, but I'm not done with this deck, not by a long shot. So all the things I say and all the critiques I say, still. So anyway, a card for Jonaside. Jonaside. Oh, Jonaside. You are like anyone else. Who do I see in the Magic Garden? I see Pink Fairy Dave, and I see Homo Alex, and I see Jonaside and the butterflies. No, I'm kidding you. You are like unlike anyone else. Your contradictions and complexities are interesting. Okay? Now, here's a good little thing to remember. Uplift. So many times we look at these cards, we look at these oracle cards, these tarot cards, and they become tools of the workings out of our anxieties. Sometimes you just need to pick me up, and sometimes you just need a reminder. Jonaside, you are a unique roll of the dice. Only one person can fit out a vaginal canal at a time, or at least was the case with your mom on that day when you came out. And since that time, you have had a unique experience, unique unto you. If it be the case that this is just a world of chemicals and minerals and chemical reactions, if there is no God, no goddess in heaven, if there is no anything else, and at the end of your day, it's simply the end of your day, an entire universe will be taken with you. An entire universe of unrepeatable, unique experiences that only you could testify to. Know that about thyself. You are unlike anyone else. Okay. And then we got Reemsey. Reemsey would like a shapeshifter card. Let's get a shapeshifter card for Reemsey. Pulling without looking, and we get hope the censors don't get me. Artemis of the Forest. Now you are independent and free. Now you are independent and free. It's not that you didn't have the skills and abilities to be free before. It's not as though you couldn't have made the move before. But things happen when they're meant to happen. There might be things that are lost, regrets, opportunities missed. But they may be the price we have to pay for the realization and the knowledge that helps us to convert those future experiences of loss or discomfort into positive, reframed moments of learning and reflection. At the end of our days, after the wisdom has been gained, often at peril, often at pain, with the gift of the knowledge and the gnosis and the wisdom, we can say, now we are independent and free. And also, you can also go full woo-woo with it. And it might be speak a deeper truth that's going on in the world of Reemsey. One thing that I would want to say about this deck that I don't think that I said beforehand, using it in readings, I thought would be difficult at first. And I thought it was hard to work with as a card for the day sometimes, because the energies and the things being spoken about are more than what you will get just in one day. Do you know what I mean? So I almost feels like this deck I would use as a not a card of the day oracle pull, but I might use this for, I might pull a shapeshifter card on a monthly basis or on the new moon, right? Or what have you. That's the energy. It's these cards feel like you don't necessarily want to do them in a spread. The energy is big enough on their own, and it feels like when I went through them one at a time, one day at a time, it felt like we were going too fast because the setup of what the energy is, the setup of who the familiar, what the shapeshifter is, how they may appear, how they might not appear, how they may manifest in a metaphysical or metaphorical way versus metaphorical way or whatever. It was, I would sit there and I go, in a day, I feel like, can we spend more time with this? Right. So it's like, I would say that. So it just prompted remembrance. So we got Jonas Side, we got Reem C, Philip Blair. Philip Blair, come on down. Philip Blair, a shapeshifter card for the one and only Philip Blair. The reason that we're here. Oh, we had this out before. A time to say goodbye. Something is about to end for now. What does it take for an oracle deck to work? It has to have enough of the meat and potatoes, the salt and pepper of life, the vegetables, if you're not a meat eater, of life. It's got to account for the pain. It's got to account for the pleasure. It's got to speak of love. It's got to speak of loss. And when speaking of loss, if it speaks from a space of wisdom, I believe, there'll be a lesson about what loss sometimes feels like versus what it is. And sometimes what it feels like is something that's going to end you. Something too painful to experience. But we have to learn to be flexible. And we have to learn to let things go. So if this card is coming up, maybe take a look at an up and down of your life, your affairs, the people in it, and say to yourself, is there anything that you've been holding on to, that you've been keeping on life support? If it's felt like the energy's running out, and if it's felt like you are keeping it on life support, it's time. It's appropriate to say goodbye. Or you may look and find none of that, but you may just find some wisdom or solace or some knowledge that can help you or someone else, at a later stage, having had the opportunity to just think about this card. So there we go. Okay. Jilly Bean says, sure, I will take a card if you have time. Just general. Sure. Ooh, okay. Pose brave flight. You will not let fear stop you this time. 26. 2 plus 6 is 8. I love 8. I like 8. There you go. Pose brave flight. You will not let fear stop you this time. Hey, something dangerous could happen. There might be words of warning that people are flaring and flexing all about you to keep you going down the straight and narrow, though there's something in your heart that's pulling you almost instinctually, almost like a magnet, towards an action, a new plan, a new venture. And there's always going to be reasons to say, don't go, turn around. The weather doesn't look good. Barometer pressure's getting low. It's about to start raining men. There's always going to be reasons to delay the flight where it would be more ideal under a different set of circumstances. And oftentimes it is our fear that is fueling that narrative. If I go under these circumstances, I could die. If I go under these circumstances, I could experience financial ruin, right? But at a certain point, the bell is rung and you just know it's time and you're going to do what you want to do, which is what you have to do, which is what is natural to you which is take flight. Jonaside says, thank you, CW. That fits. No problem. Jilly Bean says that she loves the way I read cards. All right. We say hello to the Spiked Axe. Spiked Axe says, same. Super hyped to see a deck stream again. See, things aren't going to totally change. Maybe maybe the I Am the One Who Works Here channel will be the other stuff channel. We'll figure it out. Philip Blair. I've been seriously thinking of finishing school. Lots of synchronicities pointing to that way too. If you started, you might as well finish, right? There you go. We say hello to V. We say hello to everyone. Up, the Spike Deck says, I'd like a card too, if possible, regarding belief and finding that perfect balance of woo-woo and practical. Okay, let's see what we got. I'd like to see regarding belief and finding that perfect balance of woo-woo and practical. Okay. Let's pull a card regarding belief, and then let's pull a card regarding finding that perfect balance of woo-woo between woo-woo and practical. Okay, Julie Bean says, so spot on after all I've been through with my current health crisis I just had. I actually myself started doing Facebook Live card readings again. Well, there you go. So regarding belief, so let's see how the deck holds up, because that's it. You ask questions and we're going to get responses and we'll see. So regarding belief, Oracle cards. Oh, Oracle the Shapeshifter, energy of the Shapeshifter spirits. Hear my plaintive call across the wilderness and wasteland. I whisper unto you, show me, talk to us, tell us something regarding belief. Survey says, ooh, let me turn off your thing here. Little brother, little sister, siblings, younger friends, responsibility. Siblings, younger friends, and responsibility. Why do we have beliefs? Well, one aspect of it is need. Maybe not the need that we have, maybe not the need that others have, but maybe the need we perceive that they, like kids in this example, might have. We may come up with these beliefs because it may be the best way to hand down the knowledge of survival or how to survive from generation to generation. There's some analysis of beliefs, morals, and ethical systems that say if you look at a lot of these moral and ethical principles, the reason that they did it is because they had this dietary rule because they must have thought that that affected health. And it did or didn't in this way or that way. Or various other things could happen. So some of the things that we believe may not be true, but there may be a reason why they stick around or why we maintain them. It may be a misguided belief. You know, the person who drinks too much has a problem, but they're drinking to try and find a solution. Do you know what I mean? Even though that's what's causing them the heartache. We're not logical or rational people, so our beliefs often will be the same, but there usually is a drive behind that irrationality. And sometimes it's fear, and sometimes that fear is well-founded. The world is a dangerous place. That's what I get out of the card. That's what I got out of it. You may get something different. But then I said we would ask the deck about finding that balance between the practical and the woo-woo. Artemis of the Force we get again, number 6. Number 32, which adds up to 6. Artemis of the Force, not that it means anything. Artemis of the Force, now you're independent and free. Well, these animals have grown up a bit, haven't they? And they're also no longer imaginary. They've become the actualized beings that we see around us. So finding that balance, you have to find that balance. You can't find it amongst the woo-woo purveyors, whether they be in traditional garments of the church or the synagogue or the what have you, nor will you necessarily find them amongst the wild and crazies of the new age wilderness. You're going to have to decide, because those people will give you their answers about what is practical and what is woo-woo, what is real and what is false. But it's your desire to find that balance. Only you can find that balance, because only you truly know and understand where you think the mystery lies, where your logic and rationality take you up to, and the point at which you say, look, I'm running the numbers, I'm looking at it, I'm trying to think of this logically and rationally, but the number of synchronicities that are adding up, the weirdness of that experience or the unusualness of that encounter, in light of the tarot card reading that just happened, in light of the thing that my mom just said, in light of, stars over Kentucky. I don't know. No one can tell you where that line is. You have to. And that's scary. And if you look at the protagonist in this card, she's naked as a jaybird, which makes her vulnerable. But Artemis is a master huntress. She may appear vulnerable to us, but it is her inner knowledge and strength and her wisdom regarding her own abilities that now allow her to say she's free. She's not vulnerable. She's free. And there's an evolution here where we see this fantasy scene turn into this adult scene. This childlike figure has matured significantly. She has got breasts. She's a woman now. And these fairies and these dragons have become these actualized beings. I don't know. See? You get out of it what you put into it. And no matter what the deck is, chances are you can work with it. You can definitely work with this deck. The deck works. Lucy Cavendish can write a guidebook. 2 kittens. You must choose. This is card number 27. 2 plus 7 is 9. Up, you come up again, twisting the tail. A lot of these. Try to think if there's one we haven't really looked at. Here, this gal always reminds me of the girl from Clueless. Can't remember her name. Alicia Silverstone. That's in the Belfry. You can achieve great things. Absolutely, we can. So, a good deck. The best deck in the world? I don't know. The first Oracle deck I really dug into and really tried to work with, quote unquote, and stay with. And staying with it, I see that, you gain knowledge and gnosis, and you see the cards come up again, and you start to develop your own, like the tarot cards, you develop your own narrative and connection with the individual cards. You remember how they came up or how you interpreted them or looked at them, and from reading to reading. And then in that process, just like coming to know a person, you come to know the card. So the journey's not yet over, but it's this weird difficulty, isn't it, fellow travelers? You know that in order to really understand any given Oracle deck, what you really should do is say, I'm going to just work with this Oracle deck. But you're not going to, because that's not fun. You want to go and get another Oracle deck. And then you want to buy another Oracle deck. And look, it's the Oracle of the unseen eye in the pyramid. But he's on vacation in this deck. That's right. It's the Illuminati eyeball on vacation deck. Honey, I see they're advertising they're coming. It hasn't come out yet. The Garbage Pail Kids are coming out with a tarot deck. Do you understand that? The Garbage Pail Kids. Okay? I mean, I'm buy. That's a first day buy. Granted, I'm not pre-ordering because as the whiff of Kickstarter could fall out of the lineup any minute, but yeah, it's there. So not all decks are created equal, but definitely wasn't like a joke deck. And enough here to work with. Like I said, I don't know if I would want this to be a card of the day deck to pull from, but definitely like a card of the just if you have a home space or an altar with cards, like to just like have like to pull a new one like monthly, I think is great. Would be amazing. But it works with readings too, as we've seen today. I don't know. It is what it is. And like I said, I couldn't call this a review. You see the cards. You heard about it. We talk about it. So you're going to decide either it appeals to you or it doesn't. Either you're going to take a look at the sticker price on Amazon or Barnes & Noble or whatever, and you're going to say, yep, cool, purchase. Or you're going to say, not for me. No thanks. No mas bueno. Jilly Beans. Jilly Bean says, I have so many Oracle decks. I agree. I know. Reamsey, they do make, and I buy too many decks, maybe. Here we go. The Spike deck says, I grew up with 2 decks in the house, used the Fairies Oracle for many years now. It's been really good to me. Yeah, look, we get to know what we get. We get to know what we work with. This will always be the first Oracle deck I really dug myself into. And this will always be the first Oracle deck that I reviewed on YouTube. So there you go. The journey continues. Okay. So that's our video for tonight. I love you. I love you. I love you. If nobody told you they loved you today, somebody just did, and that somebody is me. Okay. Make of that what you will. And the beat goes on. Okay. The beat goes on. Do you know Sarah Rachel Adams gave me a kick in the back today? She kicked me in the back today. Oh, unbelievable. Sarah Rachel Adams. Love and light. Ugh, I'm not going to go into it. Whatever. Check this out. So I want to do this. So I've turned my main channel into a Female Action Figure Appreciation Society channel, which I don't think everybody really likes, but it's what I've done. So deal with it. I got this. Here, look at this. It doesn't transform, but it's a Transformers. This is a company called React. Well, no, the company's called Super 7, but the series is basically, you're supposed to not open these things up. They're supposed to be just stay on the card. But I thought it'd be fun if we opened it up, and I'm trying to experiment. I'm trying to I want to get the guy out. So here's the point of these things. They look like the old school Star Wars or G.I. Joe figures on the card. So they make them for like, Jason Voorhees and like, the friggin' Son of Sam killer. Whatever. They they got everyone on one of these cards for this company, Reaction or whatever, the series. But so the question with these is, I'm not a mint on card collector. I like to play with figures. So I saw this guy. So what I want to do is I want to figure out how to get the bubble off without fucking up the card. And I looked at research because I was like, someone has to know how to do this. And no one really, I think, has figured it out. And what most people do is they'll cut the bubble off so the card stays flat. But I want to do a different way. I was thinking this. If I cut out the top window, if I cut out the top, then I can slide the guy out, but I could still slide him back in to hang him up on the wall as if he's mint on card, like to store him. So you could have like the best of both worlds. Yes, it would be an open figure. No, I wouldn't. I don't plan on reselling any of this shit. This is if I ever get to the point where I have to resell a fucking reaction figure Transformers, I'm at the point where I'm already like on my knees. You know what I mean? Blowing dudes for, you know what I mean? It's already like selling an action figure is not going to save it. So what I'm going to do is I want to cut out the top, because the theory is that if I cut out the bottom, I couldn't store him that way, because if I hung it up on a wall, he would fall out the bottom. But if I cut out just the top to the point where I can get the figure out, then I could still save the bubble, and then I could still put him back in to hang him up on the wall. But the other thing is that I remove the entire card, I remove the entire bubble from the card, lose the bubble, and then the card is easier to store, and then I could use it for like diorama purposes. I'm going to start with my first idea to see if it works. And I purposely bought this figure because I didn't like it, but I knew I was going to try this thing and this technique, and I didn't want to do it on a figure that I really liked. So most people do this with an X-Acto knife. I'm going to do it. I haven't seen anyone do what I'm going to do. Most of them just cut off the bubble. They try to cut off the bubble without breaking the painting on the back. So I'm gonna do this. I apologize. Sorry, not sorry. Okay, well, give me a first incision. Oh, geez. Gotta be careful. You're supposed to always cut towards yourself, right? Oh, geez. Oh, geez. How did your dad die? He was trying to open an action figure online. Are you serious? Yeah, I know. It's a joke. Oh, God. I'm like doing this the stupidest way. It's like I'm like the before picture. Oh, God, I'm an idiot. I can already tell this is like probably more trouble than it's worth. Oh, God, I'm totally going to slice off my thumb. The suspense must be killing you. You must be just like, oh, and of course this. Great. Ugh, come on. Don't want to know what you saw. Actually, I do want to know what you saw. What'd you say? Nothing. We didn't see anything. It's the dildo collection, didn't you? Well, yes. But we all knew about that. You talk about it all the time. I'm proud of my collection is all I'm saying. I'm kidding. I'm not. It's not that big a collection. It was a huge collection, no pun intended. But then I just worked it down to the choice, the ones that really said, what really. I did the old Marie Kondo thing. I said, do you bring me joy? I mean, not in the moment. Of course you bring me joy. But I'm kidding. Talking about dildos. Okay, totally more trouble than it's worth. And I made the window too small. So now I'm going to, this is idiocy in the making. This is why you would just open it up. Oh, God. As I literally prepare to kill myself. Not on purpose. Remember me as a peacemaker. It's ripping television, I must assume. Come on. Oh, God, that really... Oh, Jesus. Ben, what are you doing, idiot? You're going to kill yourself. Oh, God. Totally not worth it. Well, I don't know if it's not worth it. That's what we got. So I did it. Like, I took I cut out the top. So we'll see if we can get the guy out. But then, of course, you have this thing. This is all. I might as well just take. I should just take off the thing. Ah, fuck it. We'll see. It's an experiment. But I could get him back in there. He has a weapon. He's a shapeshifter. Why he's gold? I guess I assume he's some sort of like, unique one, like a chase or something. But they have like literally 5 of them on clearance at my local Target. He does have a gun though. So this is the bonus round of the video. Stay for the cards and then stay for the man playing with toys. Is it doing anything for you? No, not really. Well, it's a niche audience. Come on. There you go, you son of a gun. There you go. No pun intended. There you go. I'm gold Optimus Prime for some reason. So there you go. He doesn't transform, but I got him out of the thing and I could get him in the thing. And I'll experiment with the technique more with more figures that I don't necessarily love, because there's some of these reactions that are great. Like I got a whole bunch. Like I've got a whole bunch of I almost said Eddie Money, Eddie from Iron Maiden. They have a whole bunch of them with him, and I really want to figure out how to do this technique. How to get I want to save the cards, and I want to have the ability to get them back onto them, kind of. But I don't know if at the end of the day, if it's worth it, or if it just makes more sense to just take the whole bubble off and then just preserve the card. We'll see, but that's the discussions for a later time. Pew, pew, pew. Shoot you. Here we go. Look at this. Here we go. Hold on, watch. Give me everything you got. I got nothing. Okay. So, lately, I feel lost. Well, stop pointing your gun at somebody. Here, a card for Optimus Prime. We don't know where we're going to get. Brother Raccoon, a safe place for you to go. Cybertron, right? It's card number 4. Brother Raccoon, a safe place for you to go. There's so many of these cards that are repetitious. It's beautiful. Gotta love it. Anyway, there you go. Forward onto the dawn. Cybertron. Ow.